What's up and welcome back to Interpreting the Scares. That's right, we're moving right along in our daily journey through nightmares this month with the last franchise that I'll be covering all month, and that's I Know What You Did Last Summer. I Know What You Did Last Summer is about a group of 4 teenagers that accidentally kill a man and decide to make it look like an accident one summer. But the next year, things get intense when they get a mysterious message from somebody telling them that he or she knows what they did last summer, and little by little, the people around them begin to die and they need to figure out who this murderer is if they have any hope of survival. So, the absolute biggest thing about this movie, without a question, is it's the biggest red herring film I've ever seen, period. And, you know, there's always usually some red herrings in horror films, but that seems to be the main gimmick of this one. And I would be mad, but honestly, I'm not. I had a lot of fun with this movie overall because there was no way to tell who the real killer was because everybody looked guilty, and I mean everyone. I remember when the film just began. Johnny Galecki from The Big Bang Theory was in the film, and he was acting all creepy, and he runs into them when they're in the process of disposing the body, and I'm sitting here like, if this dude is the killer, this is some terrible writing. But thankfully, it's not that easy, and the mystery lives on. Also, I knew the cast was going to be a lot of fun because the casting director was Mary Verneau, who is the biggest name in the world of casting I've ever seen. She's probably the most known right now for Knives Out and Promising Young Woman, but she's casted over 400 films. It's insane. And to a degree, the ones that I have seen, I've usually enjoyed the casting. With I Know What You Did Last Summer, these are mostly empty characters, so nothing about them individually is really that memorable, but these actors played the heck out of them, and I can't help but laugh at Sarah Michelle Gellar and Freddie Prinze Jr. in this film as they're tracking down an elusive urban legend killer, because obviously they did similar in the Scooby-Doo movies. Good old Fred and Daphne right here. I half expected them to find the killer to be one of them, and then they rip off the mask, and it's Old Man Wellers? Other than that, I hardly think the film is made well from a visual cinematography, editing, music, or sound perspective. The biggest thing with visuals you'll probably remember is the look of the killer, which is this towering villain wrapped in a black fishing slicker, armed with a hook in his hand to kill people with. In general, he is a memorable looking villain, but I've already talked about a villain with a hook for his hand this month. That's Candyman. Mostly a coincidence though, since I've never really seen either one of these movies before, but hey, yeah. Technically the movie is perfectly acceptable, but mostly monotonous as far as what it physically does. That's why, looking back, you'll remember the premise of the killer and the gimmick of the red herrings more than you'll remember how certain scenes looked or sounded. It's not that kind of movie. Also, the only other negative that I can pop out right now is that this is a 90s horror film. As I've mentioned in the past, 90s anything is never perfect, and horror specifically is often the cringiest and corniest of them all. And honestly, I did sense that corny aspect of the film. I sensed how dated it was in certain pop culture references, outfits, and music, and especially some of the performances which didn't really have range. These people were acting about the same from beginning to end, but that's honestly pretty typical for the time period that it came out in. So keep that in mind. Overall, I think that I Know What You Did Last Summer is a blast. I wasn't really expecting that to be the case, but I found myself really invested in the mystery, especially with how many red herrings that it ran into, forcing the film to be unpredictable at the end of the day. I even found the tease at the end of the film really interesting, as it was already pointing towards the sequel that we definitely got. Let's go ahead and break down my final score though. From a technical, unbiased perspective, like I said, the film is fine. Most of it won't stand out as memorable other than the look of the killer himself. It's fine for what it is, but that's all you'll mostly remember it for. This score is 72%. My bias score, or just how I felt about it overall, is a little bit higher because, you know what, I had a lot more fun with the film than I ever thought I would, and I'm actually looking forward to checking out the sequel later this month. This score is 82%. When we combine the two scores together, we come to the final rating of 77%. 77 out of 100 possible stars, or a B letter grade. Guys, have you seen I Know What You Did Last Summer? And if you have, let me know your thoughts on it in the comment section down below. Also, did you guess who the killer was? Let me know. And as for YouTube, you guys know what to do. Hit that like, subscribe button, and bell to be notified when I come out with my next review. And until then, peace out!
Dave examines movies. We we just watch for fun. Davey is the expert, he is the #1 critic that I go to when I need a movie